So let's say the interview notice comes in and you have to prepare for your employment-based interview. How much time do you usually have to prepare?
Typically, we used to have about 30 days, Emily, but nowadays I noticed that they're giving 10 days notice, 15 days notice, because they want to hurry up. The methods that what we have used, people have contacted the congressman, and that worked out. And a lot of people are getting the green cards. A lot of people are getting the interviews. A lot of people are getting RFEs about the medicals, which is exactly what we allow. A lot of people got text messages. A lot of people got emails about the medicals, but they're waiting for the RFEs to come in. But yeah, it's taking, right now what I noticed is anywhere between 1 week to about 20 days is what I've seen recently for the 485 interview. Now, when you get the 485 interview notice though, there are certain things that I want you to make sure. If you have submitted the 485J supplement, you don't have to submit the 485J supplement again unless if you are not employed with the same company, unless you don't have the job offer with the same company. If you're working with the same company, you can take an employment letter, verification letter that you still have the job offer. You need to take that. I strongly suggest that people who will go for the 485 interview need to have a copy of the I-140 petition that also has a copy of the labor certification and also have a copy of the 485 application with them. Now, for you to get a copy of the I-140 petition, you can go to the link that we have provided in advance. We want you guys to prepare these things in advance, not when the things come in. So you can go to the link provided at the I-140 petition. You can, it takes about 10 minutes, it's free, it's online. Get that thing ready. Now, your lawyer will definitely provide you with the 485 entire petition. He may not be at liberty to provide the I-140 application, but he will provide you the 485 copy of the entire petition. When I want you to have these applications, have this copy of the petitions with you so that you can review it to see if there is any difference. You can always contact your lawyer to discuss the options though. Now, when you go to the interview, I want you to dress up completely in Western dress, very professional. If you wear a tie, I want you to wear a tie. If you can possibly wear a coat, wear a jacket, wear the same kind of color code that if you can, same pants, shoots. These are absolutely necessary. Even women should wear the traditional Western dress. Now, unless your religion doesn't permit you where you can wear a Western dress, we strongly recommend you wear a Western formal as possible. You know, some of these lawyers have suggested go to the interview just like the way you go to temple. Well, they don't know that in temple we go in shorts. Yeah, we do. You know, what they meant to say is that when you go to church, if ever you want to check out how people dress up, wait on a Sunday afternoon out of the church, or going to church and check it out. Nothing wrong with it. See how they dressed up. They really dress up when they go to church. So we want you to, when you go to the 485 interview, completely Western dress, because you are telling the officer that you're respecting the office for which they are serving for. They will really like it. I want you to take all the immigration documents, index them properly when you go in there so that you can feel whenever the officer asks you, you can give that particular documentation. I want to make sure that you take the old passports and the current passports, not just the current passports, but the old passports also. Recently, I've noticed that they're asking for the pay stubs. They're also asking for the income tax returns in some cases though. You may get the income tax returns and take it with you. Also go to irs.gov. Fine, you'll get about 4 years income tax returns. Try to get them and keep it with you. They may be asking about the W-2 forms also. We have noticed previously they didn't used to ask, but nowadays they're asking the W-2 forms when they go in there. When you go in there, you have the interview letter, you have all these documents. I want you to scout around that area. Check it out. When you go for the interview, where are you going to park there? What time are you going to go there? So if the interview is on Monday or maybe next couple of weeks afterwards, I want you to scout around that area, check around that area, see where you park. Don't go on that day and get bombarded. You already are tensed up, I know that. So try to go and scout around that area. Try to be there at least 40 minutes before. It will be very much like airport-like security where you enter into the building. They want to see your interview letter so that they will allow you inside the building. Once you go into the building, they will tell you to keep the interview letter at a particular place, and they will tell you to sit down. Normally, if the interview is in the morning time, things happen at the proper timings. But the interview is at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Then what happens is that by the time the officer gets to your file, they may get delayed and there may be some delays. Morning times will go normally, afternoon time sometimes. You may expect to wait for about 1 to 2 hours at that point of time. When you go in there, when you sit in there, they will call your name. You don't have to very panically listen to the name. They know you are there, so they will announce it, and they know that, you know, the names are confusing. This is an immigration officer going. There are a lot of different multinationals people there, so they're accustomed with the name. So they'll go around and check around to see if the person is there. When the officer comes out, announces your name, they will escort you to a small locked door. They will open the door with their card. They will tell you to go forward, and they will come and they will escort you to the officer will escort you to that particular officer's room. You may have to walk through a couple of corridors to get to that room. The room normally is a very small room. It may have an outside window. It may not have an outside window. It will have a desktop computer. The monitor will be either on the left side or on the right side. They always like to have the main applicant sit at the opposite side of the monitor. Let's say if the husband is the main applicant, wife is the dependent. If the monitor is on the right side, the husband will be on the left side. In the desktop, where the officer sits, there'll be 4 chairs, 2 chairs in the front, 2 chairs at the back. As I said, wife and husband, they normally tell you to sit in the front 2 chairs. If there are any kids, they will tell you to sit at the back side of the back. There are 4 chairs at the back of at the 2 back chairs, they will tell you to sit. Now, once you go in there, they will ask your driving license, your passport, your EAD cards, and they will tell you to stand up, and they will tell you to raise your hand, and then they will tell you to repeat after them that you're going to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and your answer should be yes. And after you do that, they will tell you to sit down. Once you sit down, they normally will ask questions, routine questions. What is your date of birth? When did you last came into the United States? What is your mom's name? What is your dad's name? What is the address that you live? They will ask the basic questions. Some of the officers may ask you, is your date of birth July 3rd, 1984? Some of the people may ask, what is your date of birth? So either way, it's the same question, routine questions. Once they go to the routine questions, though, they will ask the 485 questions. The 485 questions are, have you been involved in a crime? Have you been arrested? Are you a Nazi? Are you a communist? If you read the 485, those generic questions that are there, somewhere between 4th page and 6th page, there are some generic questions there. I'm sorry, some 7th page and 12th page, there are some generic questions. In those generic questions, though, you will see that if you read the questions a day before, you don't have to by heart those questions. You don't have to. This is not a citizenship test. So you just read them, glance them through once. So when you are there, when the officer is asking the questions, you're comfortable. If it's a traffic tickets, they normally don't ask anything. But if they particularly want to ask about traffic ticket, you can just mention it. We haven't seen any officer asking about the traffic tickets unless you mentioned it on the 485, which you are under no obligation to mention about the traffic tickets. If you do have any criminal records, you definitely need to make sure that you have a consultation with a lawyer before you go in there, so that other than traffic tickets, you should. Now, they will ask you about your employment history. They will ask you about how do you got the job. They may, if there is a salary variation between what you are getting and what's said in the employer letter, what is said in the 485J supplement, it's okay, not a problem. If you're working at a different location than your employer location, especially if it's a consulting firm, it is not a problem. It's okay. You can mention that my company places me at a different locations. That's not a problem. After the interview is done, if the officer feels comfortable, they'll say it's approved. Sometimes they'll say, I'll go to the supervisor. That means everything is clear. If they say, if they issue any of the documents, for example, if the birth certificate is not proper, maybe if the medical is not proper, they may issue a called I-140 or request for further evidence at that point of time. We rarely see those kind of things. If you're well prepared with all the documents, we rarely see those kind of things right now.